Hi, it's the Constant Angler. Talk to you about tubes today. These are the tubes I use in my wrasse fishing, but you could use these for your perch fishing as well. So what are they? Well, tubes, if I grab hold of one here and show you, are hollow bodied tube-like baits with tentacles. You should be able to see in there, the camera's focused. It's got a hollow body. It is effectively a tube, and it has these tentacles on the back which you can get to pulse and which move around and give added attraction. Now I've also got here baits that we call hula sticks, and a hula stick is a solid bodied bait, well, the ones I use are. So although this looks exactly like a tube, this one is actually a solid bodied bait. And if you look, if I open it up, you can do this nicely, there is no chamber inside. So the disadvantage of some of the hula sticks, especially the larger ones like this, the reason I got it is because it's black and I couldn't find a black bait anywhere, is they don't collapse so easy when the fish bite. So you will need bigger hooks with this style of bait if they are this thick. If you see, I demonstrate with this one that's got a hook in it, this is an actual tube, it collapses down so much easier. Here's another one. You can see it's so much easier to squeeze the body. So that's an advantage of a tube to a thicker hula stick. Other hula sticks we can have are like this. So they're solid bodied again, no chamber. It's got ridges on it, a lot of these tubes do. And it's not as thick as this other one here. So that's an advantage, so we're not losing too much there. And this one happens to have claw imitations on the back of it. Same with the bait alongside it, just in a different colour. This one's an even slimmer profile, but still has these tentacles. And sometimes you need to pull these tentacles apart. We could also have smaller versions by different companies. These are slightly different. They're like a Senko with just tentacles cut at the end, and not as many as in what I would call a hula stick, even though this one is called a hula stick. It's a nice slim profile, just 3 or 4 tentacles there. They all add added attraction and all have their uses. So why do we use them? Well, one of the main advantages of tubes and one of its main features is these tentacles. As you can see, you can imagine in the tide, these will move around. Sometimes you have to separate them, as in this one, they get stuck together, or they come stuck together and you have to pull them apart. But we get a lot of action out of that, and as you pull this along, this causes this skirt to pulse, and this is what attracts the fish. And obviously if you have a two-tone skirt like this one, it's going to add another dimension again. We also use them because they're hollow bodied, and we can put things inside this chamber, this tube, attractants, things like that. So they're quite a versatile little bait. What do they represent? Well, looking at them straight away, you probably all thought the same thing. It's a bright colour, this one. It's a little squid, a little lobster, a little octopus. Sometimes I think it's probably just representing some sort of fish to the fish. I think they look at it, see a creature, think that's edible, I'll have that. So how do we fish them? Well, you can fish them on all your traditional wrasse rigs. I generally like to fish them on Jika rigs, especially if it's deep water. You can fish them on Texas rigs, you can fish them on Cheb rigs, they'd be particularly good on that. You can fish them on weedless jig heads. As I've said before, I always keep saying, I don't really use those because they're expensive and we will lose gear when we're wrasse fishing, so I tend to stick to the more simple rigs. Another great rig is a split shot rig, particularly with tubes, because we could stuff some foam in this tube to make it float. They are a bit more buoyant anyway, the actual tubes, because air will get stuck in there, and if you get them to float, you can fish them off a split shot rig. So basically it's just your weedless hook, split shot up the line whatever distance you want, and usually that distance is sort of the depth of the weed. I find it works. So days you're not catching anything, you're wondering why. Sometimes if you use, say, a split shot rig or a Carolina rig, which I'll do little videos for each of those, you can set the length of your trace to so your bait can be above the weed, and you also tend to pick up more bonus fish that way as well, like pollock and bass. So yeah, they have their uses. We can fish them on any rigs we desire. Drop shot rigs, if you're into drop shotting for your wrasse, there's another good little bait. You know, something this sort of size would be great. But yeah, they're very, very versatile. So colours, well, you can see I've got a variety of colours here. I've got shocking chartreuse there. I haven't used this colour yet. I'm just experimenting with colours, trying to see if we can push the boundaries with colours, because a lot of people stick to your green pumpkins, your Junebug blues, your golds, your browns, your watermelons, your blacks. This is a shrimpy colour. This is a green pumpkin, sort of a Christmas tree colour I call that, but I will get the packet out, and it is not actually that colour. Or your more sort of translucent base with glitter. But you can push the boundaries. You've seen on my videos where I'm catching wrasse that pink is working, and you can get more shady coloured baits, which I tend to use when there are a lot of bait fish in. Because if there's bait fish around and other fish are hammering into them, or they're going down near the wrasse will eat them. They're carnivores. They'll eat them for two reasons. They're either hungry and they don't want to eat them, or they'll eat them because we're annoying them. People have their different views on why wrasse attack our lures. I think it's a territorial thing as well as a hunger thing. I think they bite for both reasons myself. So retrieves, we mentioned rigs. Well, we got this skirt, haven't we, with whatever we're using, whether you're using hula sticks here or tubes. You want to get this to pulse. So generally our retrieves, I find a stuttering sort of retrieve gets this skirt to move. Now whether that be you pulling it along the bottom or hopping it along the bottom on say a Jika rig or a Texas rig, or you're going to get this bait to go up and down, up and down. When it pauses on the bottom, just shake it a bit, or just pull it a couple of times, and that will get that skirt to work, and you'll find that the fish will hit when it does this. This is the thing that stimulates them to bite, is the skirt. Same with your perch fishing. So yeah, you can do all your traditional retrieves with these, and you can fish them dragging along the bottom and popping them, or up and down, or I suppose if you want you could swim them a bit as well. It's not something I generally do, but you could with these, with the claws on as well, these hula sticks. Now another little trick you can do, I haven't got one to hand here at the moment, is with the hollow bodied ones, some people like to fish these what we call weedless but weightless, so no weight at all other than your hook, straight through to your fluorocarbon leather. You can stuff in this chamber, you have to get the right size one, but you can stuff a Senko in there and chop it to get extra weight. If you didn't have one of these solid baits, which will weigh a little bit more anyway, then that will enable you to throw these out. It obviously limits you a bit because you can't, that bait isn't going to float now. But if you're not worried about that and you just want to let something drift in the tide and pulse it every so often, it's a great little tip for you. As I mentioned previously, you can stick foam in the chamber as well of these tubes. You could dip that in scent of your choice, so you've got a scent trail with the bait as well then, or this particular crossover here which is called a crawl tube, you could do the same. But they also have ridges, so you can put a paste on here in the summer, a scented paste, or in the winter something glycerol based I suggest, because it will dissipate more easily. So there's a little tip there to think about. If you're using scents, pastes and things like that are good in the warmer water situations, but in a cold water situation you want to be using something like glycerol, because it'll allow that scent to get out into the water and dissipate easier. It won't stay on as long, but it'll do the job that you want it to do. You could also, with these darker baits, you could put find where your hook point is, and you can use those luminous pastes that I've shown you in some of my other videos. Tricks with Senkos and increasing the traction of your baits, yeah, or the pens that you get, and do the same. So you're providing a strike point. I guess they think they spot that it fluoresces, and it's easy, and then I'll hit that point there, and that's right where your hook is. So on a finicky day, that's a good little trick as well. So favourites, as you know, I love buying my lures from AGM as one of my major suppliers, so support them please. We have different colours here. So yeah, we got this one here, which is a 3.5-inch tube, and it is in chartreuse. You get 10 in a packet from AGM, very cheap. We have this one next, which is the same tube but in a sand version. We have this one next, which I was hoping to tell you the colour, but I can't find it, so I'll have to put it in the links afterwards. But it's a darker watermelon with red, green and blue flakes in there. I call it a Christmas tree colour. And then we've got this one, which is in a pumpkin seed colour. So all different colours will work on different days. If there's more of a particular sort of bait fish creature around that they're eating and it represents that more, the colour is more similar to that, maybe they'll have a go at it. With lots of people fish your areas, try something different. Maybe they've seen it all. Fish do wise up eventually. So next we have our zoom tubes. We've got 3 colours here, but only 2 packs. So first one, it's Zoom, very good company, their lures work, something in there. 4-inch zoom tube in June bug. This one is a 4-inch zoom tube in watermelon and red. And this one, I'm not sure because I don't have the packet anymore, but that looks to me like a June bug and chartreuse. This one is made by a company called All Blue, and it was off AliExpress, and there was no colour label with it, it's just black, and that's why I bought it. Sometimes black lures can work better than anything. The next lure, as we go around clockwise here, is a Big Bite Baits double tail skirted grub in green pumpkin copper flake. A particular favourite of mine, so if you can find that, buy it, because they're difficult to find. Next one along is a Gary Yamamoto bait, so you know you're getting quality there, and it doesn't say what colour it is because I obviously got it on sale, but it didn't even say what it is, does it? They obviously will rebag these things maybe, but yeah, it's a gold fleck translucent hula stick, something like that. They work, they catch. Next we get into the Z-Man baits, so you're talking about your Elastic, great things. If you're worried about bass biting your lures up, best thing you can do is get yourself some Z-Man baits, because they struggle to bite these in half. I'm sure they will eventually, but there you go. That one is a TRD Ticklers. It's only a 2.75-inch bait, that, but it's a reasonable thickness to it, and I wouldn't worry about using that for bigger wrasse. Bigger wrasse will have that, but you'll pick up more smaller wrasse as well. So if you're looking for numbers, it's a good bait, and that's in Laguna Shrimp. Alongside it is the Z-Man Hula Sticks, and that bait is 4-inch long, and it is in the colour The Deal. These particularly good perch baits, those, but I intend to use them for the wrasse this year, and I have caught wrasse on this already. Not that one yet, I haven't used it. Next bait around is the sort of crossover between a tube and a crawl, which these things work, they're very good. Yes, it's a Big Bite Baits 4-inch crawl tube in watermelon and red flake. Plenty of those sort of baits around, you'll find them, the usual stockists. And yeah, great bait. I mean, this one's been hammered up a bit, caught a few on that one. Then we get to our wave worm baits, as in here. So we're looking at this one here now, and the one alongside it, and these are their 4-inch tiki tubes, swirl series. So as I say, I call them roll baits, but yes, swirl baits. The colours swirl around into each other, and this is in watermelon copper. Next to it is just plain watermelon wave worm bait. Then we come to our Storm, now white pearl in this colour baits. My reasoning behind this was I wanted to try something new for the wrasse, and I've caught a couple of wrasse on it. It's not been a sensation though, other baits are better. But I was thinking I might pick up a bonus bass swimming around the gullies or something like that with this bait. It has a rattle in as well. Haven't had that bass yet, just a couple of bait, and as I say, it's not been a sensation, but it has caught fish. So I shall keep it in my armoury for now. Next we come to the Berkeley Havoc baits, and these are their smash tubes. Now this one says it's 4 inches, it's more like a 5-inch bait, so they're obviously talking about the body of the bait here, and it's in a bruise colour. Alongside that is the same bait, the smash tube, but this is in a green pumpkin colour. With, if you notice, these baits are very good. They're two-toned in the tentacles. You know, a lot of thought's gone into these baits, and the shape of the tentacles as well. They have recesses in them. They're not just plain straight. Yeah, great action on these baits, and I love the tentacles that they are. I tend to use these for bigger wrasse. So there's a selection that I use. There's probably others that I forgot, the recesses of my garage, but obviously these are the ones I use the most. I don't carry them all at any one time. I would knock that a bit. I would keep a selection of these with me always, and I always have a couple of these and these, and some of the larger tubes, and one of these. These are recent introductions, so we'll see how they work out. But that one has already caught wrasse. They will. There's no two ways about it. They'll catch wrasse. Seaman are great baits. I neglect them a bit because they're expensive, but really you're getting value for money, as they'll last longer than most of these other baits. Thanks for watching. As always, it's appreciated. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. The Constant Angler.